Hello, everyone. I'm Charlie, and welcome back to another DraftKings UCL DFS slate breakdown. Got some nice contests on our hands here. DraftKings have like the big flagship UCL group phase middle or whatever big contest, mid phase special or something, I think it's called. And as well as this big 3-3-3 King of the Pitch, I'm super excited for. So yeah, it's a big slate here with some nice contests, and I'm super excited for it in terms of the games themselves. Man City minus 500, Barcelona minus 588, Leverkusen minus 500, Inter minus 200, Bayern 175, Atalanta minus 250, then Sporting and Arsenal being the only uh double plus odded team game on the slate. So yeah, lots of kind of lopsided games, which makes a lot of kind of players to pick from and from those lopsided matchups. In terms of set pieces and projected lineups for Atalanta, it should be Lukman and Samardzic in this team. Samardzic has not played very much. If he doesn't start, like he hasn't been, it should be Lukman. For young boys, they're a bit of a mess. Grinch is probably most likely, but Malej or even um or Malej or even like Bloom or somebody else could take. They have a lot of guys who just randomly take set pieces sometimes, so kind of ugly in that sense. For Barca and Brest, for Barcelona, it should be mostly Rafinha. There's a chance that Pedri are almost split, but Rafi's the main guy. And for Brest, it should be Doumbia on this team. He's kind of the backup set taker when there's no Del Castillo, although we've seen Lala take a little bit in the past, but it was a Doumbia monopoly last UCL game without Del Castillo. Bayer Leverkusen and Salzburg, it should be Grimaldo and Alex Garcia splitting. Beerts also has been known to take a couple as well. If there's no Garcia in the lineup, it should be a straight split between Grimaldo and Beerts. For Salzburg, it's been mostly Bobby Clark these days. Bobby Clark and Glauc have been the kind of the two main takers. So that's them. Bayern and PSG, Kimmich and Elise for Bayern. PSG, it should be mostly Dembele, potentially Marco Asensio taking a couple of one-offs as well. Hakimi, I know, is known to take some free kicks also, and then if Lee Kang-in somehow is in the lineup, he would be the majority set piece taker, or at least a split with Dembele. Inter v Leipzig, Di Marco, monopoly probably in this team. There's a chance that for Aslani or no, Zielinski would split probably. It would be DiMarco and Zielinski in this team probably. If Chalanoglu was in, he'd be the one to split, but he came out with a knock over international break. So I don't know if he's 100% fit still. He didn't play last league game. DiMarco didn't start either, which I think is really good for his chances of starting. He's not usually been a regular starter for UCL. They usually save him for the league games. So it's nice to see that they rested him completely last weekend. I think that just really means that DiMarco should play. Then for Leipzig, it's usually Campbell when he's in. If he's not, Dayvald has taken in a little in the past a little bit. I know he's unprojected either. I think next man up would probably be either Baumgartner or Noosa or maybe even Hendricks. It's a bit of a mess, frankly. Man City and Feyenoord should be De Bruyne, potentially Savinho or Grealish take a couple of one-offs, but it just should be De Bruyne when he's in. He has not started since his injury. They've been super careful with him. I feel like this is finally the time to let loose on him. I really hope he starts. And then for Feyenoord, it should be Inbam Huang and Paixão splitting, even though they're both righties. Sporting and Arsenal still settling to life without Amarim, now Man United. But I think it'll be, I want to say Edwards. The chance will be between Cal. Quenda's taken a little bit in the past as well. Same with Araujo. We'll see what they do. Like with the new coach, you never really know what teams will end up doing for sets. So we'll just kind of wait and see on them. I don't expect a ton against Arsenal anyway, just because of our Arsenal play. But for Arsenal, it should be Saka and Rice. Odegaard can take the occasional set piece as well. Same with Martinelli, especially if we see Saka or Rice still not ready because they both been dealing with knocks. I know Saka started over the weekend, but still don't know if he's 100% really. All right. In terms of prices, Holland's the big name, 11K. Always a big decision. You need multiple goals, and Man City's not been playing well, but Bayern really feels like a bounce back game. Rafinha, he's been super solid. He's probably overperformed slightly, but saying that, he's still Barcelona's best player for floor. A lot of set piece upside, as well as just normal, just goal contribution upside. He's been super hot. I don't know if he'll necessarily keep that up, just especially with him being inflated this much. But best matchup on the slate, I don't mind him. Lewandowski feels a little pricey to me. Probably more GPP based. I liked him a lot more when he was in this 7K range rather than this almost 11K price point. Harry Kane, another guy who's a little GPP. Gyökeres is an even bigger kind of GPP flyer just because Arsenal's a tough matchup. He's going to be probably super low owned though because of that. Saka, I don't mind. Like any like Holland, Rafinha, Lewandowski, Saka, I think are going to be all right, even in cash. Dembele, I think it's a tough matchup, but he's been so solid that I don't mind him even either. Savinho, I like a lot. Potential of splitting set pieces. He's had a super solid floor. 8K feels pretty cheap for him. Well, he's been in around this range for most of UCL, but like at minus 500 and with no Foden likely in, I think that's super tempting. Anyone else that I'm super interested in for cash at least? I think you're kind of looking for bargains. I don't think much of a mid range here, but saying that, Boniface 5,700, that is a bargain. I think that's super tempting. That allows you to do a lot with the rest of your build at 5,600 or 5,700, sorry. So Boniface, I think that's a phenomenal play. Like he for price, he might be a better play than any of these like Hollands or Rafinhas for half the price. I mean, Martinelli, if there's no Rice, I don't think is bad. And the other guy I like a lot is Retegui, another big lopsided matchup against Young Boys. He's been super hot in Serie A. I think he is the top scorer. Doesn't always go 90 is the issue there at 4K. Honestly, where you're going to need upside with this many games, I think that's a great play too. Maybe not as good as Boniface, but once again, really intriguing value play right there at forward. Midfielders, Foden, we'll see if he's in. Not in projected for now, but in play for sure. What we say, with how little minutes he usually goes, like he's a 70-minute player typically. Don't love it. De Bruyne, this is probably the play for me. He probably should be like 9K if he was fully fit, 9,500 or something like that, closer to Foden. But at 8,800, that's just a lock and load for me. He's just such a phenomenal player for DFS. He's played one half and 5 points against a tough to break down Inter side. Against Feyenoord, this is probably a core play for me even. Kimmich, I don't know if he has the upside for that much. Gundogan, if there's no De Bruyne, he's the backup set taker. Not nearly as appealing, but not terrible if that was the case. Buchanan, no. Çalhanoğlu, I don't think is horrible, but once again, doesn't have a ton of upside unless you get like a pen or a free kick. Sam Arzic, I don't mind in GPP. I miss Lookman, I think. Yeah, Lookman, I don't mind either, 8,600. Not a ton of mid range. Like if you're playing most like De Bruyne in almost every team like I am, only got one slot to work with anyway. And it's a tough decision to decide who to go to. Philip Zielinski, that's not bad if there's no Çalhanoğlu though. Declan Rice, I don't think is the worst, but once again, a little bit of lacking in upside. Someone like I could think it really could be a slate like one of these punk guys. I wish Hoffman wasn't out. But like a Tella, I don't think could be bad at 4K. Aslani if there's like a chance he takes, which is probably pretty unlikely, but maybe. Doomby, I think is a tough matchup. I wouldn't mind that in different circumstances. Like a shock, I think could definitely work here. Keep exposure to Leverkusen. I go Tella over him probably, but 3,600 for a Leverkusen piece. Hard to go wrong. I'll be Clark. Once again, just a tough matchup. Tampa, I'd play for 3K probably. Mongelez, I don't think is awful. Mkhitaryan, I don't think is bad either at 3K. Mary, this is another guy who potentially could take. So again, don't mind that really. But yeah, it's De Bruyne and then whoever fits most of your bill if you like for midfield. Defenders, there's two guys who are just going to be an auto plug for me likely. And that is Grimaldo and DiMarco. I've been an Hakimi guy almost every UCL slate, has not really let me down. But Bayern away, toughest match he's going to have played all UCL run. And then there's just Grimaldo and DiMarco. You just go with these guys. They just get there every time. Even against Liverpool, he still had 8.6 for Grimaldo. DiMarco started one, he hasn't even started a game. Played 30 minutes, had 18 points. Like these guys are just no-brainers for me, especially if we see no Çalhanoğlu, likely larger uptick in DiMarco set piece share. No-brainer for me. Grimaldo just really, really good matchup at home, playing left wing back, especially with no Frimpong. Potentially plays even higher. Although I know Tella will just be right wing back instead. But still, you just go both these guys for me and then build from there because we just know that you can definitely find value, honestly, like this. Several 3K mids who are interesting, as well as those cheap forwards like Boniface and Ortegi. So yeah, it's just you go DiMarco, you go Grimaldo here. Because of that, I'm not even batting an eye most of these other defenders. Everyone else is probably just a GPP decision. Guys, I'm kind of thinking about are, man, I haven't even looked that much. It doesn't really even matter. I'm gonna have Grimaldo and DiMarco almost every GPP build even. That's how really into those guys are. The fucking the alternative to not playing those guys is just punts, I think, so you can play better attackers. Guys I'd play like Saliba, CD punts, I'm just hoping for a goal from Marquinhos maybe. And Copy, sure. But yeah, like I said, such a good slate for DiMarco and Grimaldo. Which leads me to my core. I've talked about most of these guys. The two fullbacks and then De Bruyne. Simple as that, really, for me. Like I'm very solid on that. All these guys should start. De Bruyne and DiMarco were rested over the weekend. It just feels like that they gotta be in. But yeah, guys, that'll be it. I'll see you for the next UCL vid. Peace.